Yeah, Most Side Talk TV in the house. You know, we have Miss Myra, you know, and we have Super Click in the house. We have taught the Most Side story, original Most Side, yeah, from day one, from birth, Myra.
From birth.
Yeah, they say, where was you born?
In this very room here.
Where is this room? In Most Side?
It's in Crondall Street, Most Side, yeah.
Wow.
So all my life I've lived in Most Side. All my life I've lived in this house, my parents' house. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you've been living in Most Side from in the what 60s, 70s? What,
From the 50s. I was born in 56. Because I'll be 66 in July.
Yeah.
So I've lived in this house 66 years in July.
66.
Well, not actually lived here. It's my parents' house.
Yes,
You know, I've moved around.
Yeah. But this is your house.
This is, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
So I would like to ask you, what it was like in the 50s, if you can.
You know,
tell something.
it was great. It was absolutely fantastic. We could all leave our back doors open, run in one another's house. There was really no arguments with us all or anything like that because we was all friends. We used to go around in gangs and things like that, but not like the gangs today.
Yes.
You know?
Different.
That happened later on when the drugs came in and that, you know. Yeah, but it was great. The streets were absolutely spotlessly clean. There was hardly any trouble. You could leave your back door open 24/7 if you wanted to. No one would come and trouble you. Because them neighbours was neighbours them days. You know, you'd knock on a neighbour. If you got no milk, you could have asked them for some milk. Yeah. So
with black and white mix together.
Well, not really, because there wasn't many black people around. It was a lot of Indian people first in that side.
Okay.
A lot of it, because all my friends when I was growing up was all Indian girls. Yeah. And then black people became later on, because I remember noticing my first black man, and it was on Broadfield Road. Me and my big sister had just been to pay the rates where the because that's where the police station used to be as well. You know, the brewery.
Yes.
There, that's where the police station was, the fire station, and where you go and pay your rates for your house. You know, your ground rates and that. So we're coming home now, and we're coming down Broadfield Road. And I even said it to my sister.
Was it called Broadfield Road at the time?
Broadfield Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been Broadfield Road.
Okay.
Yeah. And the park isn't called Broadfield Road Park. People call it Broadfield Road. It's not. It's called the Wreck. It's been called the Wreck since I was a little girl, but just lately people call it Broadfield Road Park. And I said to my big sister, because I was only about 5, and I said to my big sister, Pat, there's a black man over there. And even the man turned around and said to me, yes, that you're right. Because my sister went, no, you don't. And he went, no, your sister's right. She's right. I am a black man. And I'll never forget that. But my godfather is a black man, but he was from Trinidad.
Okay.
So it's not as if I wasn't used to seeing black people, but you only seeing a black person now and again. Around here, in my side, now and again. Like I said, it was mainly Asian.
That was in the 50s?
That was in the 50s, right up into the 60s.
Yeah.
And then the Windrush came in the 70s.
Okay.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
That's when Sobers came.
So who is Sobers?
My husband.
Okay.
So is that when you met your husband then?
Well, I met him in 73.
73.
So we've been together 48 years. This Christmas coming up, we've been together 49 years.
So
Wow.
So what was it like back then to be with a black Windrushian, Jamaican /
Yeah, it was bad because I couldn't introduce him to my parents. And me as a white woman, he couldn't introduce me to his parents neither.
Right.
But in the end, we got together and we both turned around and said, my big sister said to my father, look, you've got to realise that Myra's not going to bring a white man through the door because she's not into white man. So meet the people who she wants to be with. And if he's a black man, he's a black man. Anyway, my dad and my mum met him. I introduced him. And then it was my turn to go to alongside and be introduced to his parents. and she sort of accepted me, and then she didn't accept me sober's mum at first, because obviously she wanted him to be with a black woman, and my parents wanted me to be with a white man, because that's how it was them days. Yeah. And then in 73, I walked through this front door pregnant with a mixed race child. So my mum and dad went berserk.
Wow.
Yeah, my father was told in this room, I told my mother to bring him in here. My dad even said, is it white or is it black? I just cried more, so he knew it was a black child. Yeah. And then in the end, when I had her, my parents just said to me, look, just come home and bring the baby home. And they apologised to me, apologised to my newborn baby for being ignorant, because that's exactly what they were. They were being ignorant. Yeah. And then it was me who brought, as to say, the first colour in the family. Now I've got a first cousin with an Indian girl. I've got another first cousin with a Chinese woman, well, Malaysian woman. Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow.
So then I started going to, we used to go to, wasn't called dances when I was young. It was called a blues or a shebeen. So I started going to them places, you see. That's how I ended up pregnant.
So what blues was it?
They used to have a club. That was a club. They used to have a club up Alec Road there by the end of the park, and Alec Road there, and that was called the Edinburgh. And that was a club, and I used to go in there. And I used to go in a shebeen called the Midway in Sewsbury Street in Old Trafford, because Kaz and Bugger used to play there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they was our DJs, Kaz and Bugger, when we were young. Yeah. But Kaz has gone back over to Jamaica now. He emigrated to Jamaica,
Booger Levi is still there.
Yeah, Booger Levi, yeah.
So that club, it's a mixed club with black and white?
Well, mainly black, because, it's the same as today, innit? As soon as a black man ends up with something, the police want to come and close it down. Well, that's what they started to do in the 70s. I mean, God, there was pure places you could go to around here. You didn't have enough hours in the night to go to every single place that was on. And every single place used to be rammed.
Wow.
It's not as if a place used to be empty and this place, every place was rammed.
So what would happen? The police would shut them off? Or?
The police would come in and drink and then watch everybody and see who's doing what. They'd have the drink and they'd stand at the bar, they'd get free drink. Christmas, they'd raid every shebeen, take all the liquor, and then they go and dish it out and take it home and drink it. No, I'm not joking. That's exactly what they did, because they didn't used to take it to the police. The police, they tell us that to our face. Yeah. This is our Christmas drink.
And this was in the 70s, 80s?
And this was in the 70s. Yeah, early 70s, and then the 80s.
So what about the riot? Did you experience it?
I was there. I certainly was. I was right there in the riot. Yeah. I was getting ready to go to.
Before we reached to the riot, what year coming up further from before the riot?
Yeah.
Like from the 50s, the year about the 60s, then the 70s, then the 80s.
Okay.
And break it down.
Yeah. Well, the 50s, I was a child, so I never used to move on the doorstep. But like the 60s now, obviously, I'm starting to grow up now. I want to start mingling. I want to start mixing. Not with man or boys or anything like that, because, the only time I mixed with boys is when I left school. I wasn't interested in boys in school.
So in the schooling, there was...
I went to Burley High.
Yeah, so have it mixed in the school? Like,
yeah, it was mixed. Indian people, black people,
So what it was like?
Chinese.
What it was like
it was good, super, it was good. Because none of us used to...
In terms of the culture? Like,
well, we never seen, when we were young, we never seen a person's colour. We seen the person.
Okay.
All right, for instance, my friend who's got the one leg, the mixed race guy.
Yeah.
He was brought up by his two grandparents. Now his two grandparents are white. Stephen Cottier, I'm talking about. Stephen, mixed race man, my age, and he's had his leg amputated in. Now he was brought up by his two grandparents. This guy's a mixed race boy. Do you know? We never realised that Mr. and Mrs. Cottier wasn't his mum and dad, because he used to call them mum and dad. And we didn't realise they wasn't his real mum and dad, because he's mixed race and they was white. We didn't see that, because it wasn't like it is. Don't get me wrong. You know, if a crowd of white men had come walking down the street and you were there, oh, you'd be all the ends underneath the sun. They'd call you names. You know what I mean?
What names? Do you know any of these names?
The N-word.
N-word, like, just for the...
I know, I don't like saying it. Nigger.
Yeah.
They'd say nigger. Yeah, you're nigger. You coon. You're a black bastard. Yeah, because they'd want to come and fight you.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd want to come and fight you. And then they say, oh, you're taking all our women. And then the black girls would say, well, you're taking all our men. So what was we supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Understandable.
Yeah, because when the guys started coming over here now and they realised that white girls want to be with the black man, you know what I mean? Yeah, loved it, man.
That was in the...
And that was the late 60s, early 70s. Yeah.
Okay, move on from there.
Yeah.
From 70s now, we in the 80s now.
Yeah.
So what it was like in the 80s?
It was really, really bad in the 80s because that's when the crack and the guns and the heroin came. That's when all the gangs started wanting their own turf. So it became pretty bad then because all us parents, we're all friends, and it was our children that was fighting one another and killing one another. And there was only one thing splitting them, and that was called Alec Road. Because you've got the Doddington and you've got the Booch. And I watched, from both sides, watched all them boys grow up. Watched all them boys grow up.
Probably you don't know where the crack and the cocaine do come from. Do you have any ideas or you heard anything where it spring from? Like first who would bring it
America.
in?
Well, who first brought drugs in?
No, like who it really stem from? Which nations or people?
Well, because it's grown, it's not grown here, so they'll blame everybody else for it, you know what I mean? You've got Colombia for the cocaine, you know? You've got Jamaica for the weed, you know what I mean? England for the speed and things like that, and the ecstasy and...
The weed, you call it the call it
marijuana. Yeah, marijuana.
Cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis. Yeah.
Okay.
So they blame Jamaican people for that. They blame the Americans and the Colombians for the cocaine. Yeah, because when that came in, everything just changed. You had the baguettes, which are the heroin addicts like this. Then you had the cocaine addicts like this. You know what I mean? Walking street like this.
So what about the cannabis people? What the
Oh, well, they were alright, man, because you know what I mean? It's all like peace and love when you're smoking a spliff, isn't it? You know what I mean? No one wants to get violent. Yeah. And then it just everything just collapsed. It just went AWOL. Everything just collapsed.
Let's explain it a bit more, like when you
because it was all our children fighting one another and killing one another for a turf. You've got to hold that corner and you've got to hold that corner. You cross this road, you're going to get...
But did it make any sense to you as an adult?
No, it did not make no sense to me at all because look, what have you got out of it? The only thing you've got out of it is 25 years in jail or lay down to rest in Southern Cemetery. So nothing becomes out of a war. Nothing. You don't achieve nothing out of a war. You just don't. Because people have to die in a war.
So was that before or after the riot? Because that's what I need
That was after the riots.
So you passed the riot?
The riots. The reason why the riots is because they brought out this new sus law, you see. Just before the riots, but they'd only just started to experiment it where they wasn't stopping no white boys.
What year was it? Sorry,
that was What year was the riots now? Was that 80s?
1981, I think I heard something.
1981 was it?
Sometimes.
Was it in the 90s? No, I thought it was in the 80s.
Yes, I think
I can't remember.
No, 80s, yeah.
I lived in Disbury at the time. Me and Sobers lived in Disbury at the time.
Something.
It's around about then, about 81, they said,
Because what caused it is, because they kept picking on, the black guys, jumping out the vans. They called them Black Mariahs then. The vans were black.
So who was these people?
The police.
Okay.
Yeah. They jump out the van. They've done it enough times to Sobers. Jump out the van, grab him off me, throw him in the van, beat him up, let him out around the corner. For nothing.
Because of.
And then they call
because
him
of
all
what?
the black bastards underneath
Okay.
the sun when they're punching him. For nothing. Have you got any drugs on you, you know? Because he expected every black man that was walking my side was the drug man. And, you know, not everybody was. But there was a lot of mugging going on them days as well. Yeah.
I think I heard that before that they have some groups of guys used to go around named the skinhead.
We used to have the skinheads, the mods, the greasers,
Teddy boys.
and the teddy boys. Yeah. They all used to fight one another. Like the greasers used to fight the mods. Like mods used to dress like the Beagles and have all the red.
So are these
like
white
the Beagles.
groups or black
White,
groups?
but no, white.
All white
kids.
groups.
Yeah, majority of white kids.
So how did
You
the
might
black,
see the odd black.
how did they got in entanglement with the black guys? Because what I've heard that is the black guys used to go and fight with these skinhead guys like regularly
In town.
yeah.
In town. After their clubs had finished in town at 2:00,
Yeah.
they'd all go up there and they'd all fight the skinheads and that. Yeah.
But the black guys leave from our side and go in town to fight the skinhead.
Only if they did that the skinheads had beat someone up, then
Yeah.
they'd go. They
Yeah.
just wouldn't go just to go and do
Okay.
that specially.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. It
Yeah.
wasn't like
But
that.
I used to also hear that because I wasn't born in Saddam, that they used to leave town the skinheads and come down here
Yeah,
looking for black guys to beat up.
looking for black guys to beat up and everything, just to call them all the names underneath the sun and beat them up. And then, because remember them days, you see, we didn't have no cameras them days, did we? We didn't have no cameras. We never had a phone. Yeah. If you wanted to know where your fella was, you had to write him a letter. He'd get it 3 days later. Yeah, man, we had no phone, no cameras, no nothing. Yeah.
So how did you see the changes in the 80s when, like I said, after the place was flooded with drugs and all that? How did you see notice the changes? Has it got any better after that, or did it just continue going down?
No, it's continuing going down.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere for us to go anymore. You know, the police just took everything off us. As soon as we open a place, what do they do? You know, the young boys, they'll end up having a fight. Then the next thing you know, the place is closed down. So if they allow us to have a place, you know what I mean? I'm not, you know, me as a white woman being with a black man, allow us to have a place, that, you know, have a drink, have a dance. You know, don't spoil it for us, man. Pack the fight, and if you want to fight, have a fight later on. Because that's what we used to do. We didn't really fight in the clubs. You know what I mean? Because why are we going to spoil the club that we're in? Because we know if it's going to be continuously fighting in there, it's going to get closed down. Then no one will have where to go. But I think it's going to end up like it was in the 70s. You know, shebeens and house parties. Because now they're closing down all the pubs. They're closing down a lot of clubs. Yeah.
So how you look on it from the 90s, from the 60s, or come up now, you're in 2002 now, so...
2022.
Don't get me wrong,
2022, so
Super
you-
Click. I'd never live anywhere else. I'd walk the street at 3-4 o'clock in the morning and feel okay about it. If I went to Windrush and walked the street at 3, I'd most probably be like this because I don't know that area.
And no one knows it there like that.
Yeah,
innit?
what I'm
So
saying.
I do love my side. My heart and everything's in my side. But there is being a massive big change.
What you say
Because
change?
life changes anyway.
From the 80s.
From the time where everything was nice and everybody was friends, no one really had an argument or a fight, and if we did, it was most probably out of town. Like Manchester and Liverpool used to clash.
So let me ask you this: do you think is the system that changed it for you guys?
Of course, it was the system, yeah.
But was it not the fighting, as in say like the gangs fighting, changed it for you guys mostly? Cause they
No, it was the system who started it.
Okay.
Remember, they took everything off the black man. So what could the black man do? They had to stand on the corner and do what they do. Because where are you going to get your money from? What are you going to do? You go for a job them days, you couldn't get a job.
You
One
couldn't
other
get a
thing I
job.
want to ask you about. First of all, you used to hear about the girls and do prostituting and stuff like that. And stuff.
Do you know, I was going to say that to you, and I thought, I better not. For real. This here, this whole Brofield
Yeah,
Road,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
all Barnhill Street, all up by Alec Park,
Yeah.
it was a beat, what they call a beat.
Yeah.
You'd have like 10 girls on that corner, 10 girls on that corner. And what, like me as a young girl, I used to babysit their children. Like there was a lady living next door here. I used to babysit her children,
Mm-hmm.
and she'd send me to the shop for a note. And I never know why she'd send me with the notes. I never knew. Because she'd put it in an envelope and I'd take it to the herbalist. And when the herbalist gave me these things, I didn't even know what they were. It was a packet of condom. I didn't even know what it was. I was a kid, you know what I mean? I didn't even know what it was. And one day I decided to open one, that was it. And then I thought, that's where she gets her money from. Because there was loads of them around here. Loads of ladies, yeah.
So was
ladies of the
What
night.
type of ladies then was it?
Oh, there was just like anybody else. There was normal.
So it wasn't like smokers or like people doing
No,
it for the
no,
money?
not like it is
No.
today. Because no one knew about heroin and crack cocaine in them days.
Okay.
Yeah, when this was a beat, because that's late 60s, early 70s, and then they sort of like moved all the ladies up to Wally Range. From Wally Range now they're all behind Piccadilly train station now these days.
What percentage was black women? Because in that time, with that, not many black people living.
No,
on
there
the
wasn't
side.
a lot of black girls doing that.
Okay, so it was
It was
mostly
mainly white girls doing
girls
it.
that
Yeah,
at the time.
because them days they did have a lot of pimps around.
So was it the guys that
It was
pimping them
mainly
out?
black guys that was pimping the girls.
The white girls out.
Yeah, the white girls out.
Wow.
So do you know what type of colors or what type of things that the guys that wear who do the pimping? Because I heard that
They don't wear collars or anything like that.
what
They just wear few nice clothes. You know, they just wore nice clothes. Then in them days, it was all about gold, not silver. It was all about gold. The bigger chain you had, and the bigger sovereigns. How many sovereigns you had on your fingers, and all things like that. Yeah. Man liked to pose with the biggest chain on and all things like that. Yeah. And a crease in your trousers that you could cut your finger on. Yeah. That's how they used to press the jeans in them days. Slick. Well, my soldiers was. He was slick, man.
Did it? I don't cut you, but do you think Jamaican bring a different style?
Vibe, of course.
A different style in the dressing when they came to the UK.
Definitely.
After the Windrush, did you notice that?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because it was all boring then. Even church. Even, like white man church, you go in and you're, ooh, you go in black man church. Mine
just saying that because you're with a black man.
No, it's not because of that. It's not because of that. It's not because of that whatsoever. It's not because of that. It's true what I'm saying. When honest truth. When I used to, you know where I was christened? HQ.
Yeah.
HQ was my Sunday school. HQ was my church. That is a Pentecostal church, the Salvation Army.
Is it?
Used to run HQ.
Okay.
Yeah, the Salvation Army used to run HQ. And I used to do all my week walks from there in week and things like that. We used to do walks. I forget what you call week now. Back on. Harvest. When you give people food.
Fruits.
You take them to school and then the teacher would box them up and give them out to all the people in the area.
So it was going back a bit now to what the gangs back in the days.
Yeah.
So when you used to see the fighting between them, did you think there was anything that could be done that could avoid any of the confrontation? Was there any intervention could come from anyone else?
No.
For example, no, you don't think so?
No, because if you did, you'd get hurt yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, the system. Do you think the system could have stepped in a bit more and protect the area, protect the people?
Well, they did. They did step in.
Okay.
Because it was one police officer on his own that took down the gooch.
What do you
I forget his name. I can't remember his name. But he was only little, dead little friend. He pretended somebody brought him in. It's on YouTube anyway. You never know seen it.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
That's YouTube, it'll tell you. Because sometimes you can't say too much.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Even though they all know I will. But only to a certain extent, because I wouldn't mention nobody's names.
No, because we wouldn't want that anyway.
Yeah.
We don't want
No.
Yeah, but like I said, you've seen a lot, and like I said, it's just, people will live there seeing it, the fighting, so it was obvious.
Yeah.
So you're not saying anything. So for example, down there, what down Clement Road there, what that used to be like back in the day, where the car Rome Lane now.
It was just full of drug men.
Just pure people on the front.
Just pure people on the line.
Yeah.
Because the first front line was Princess Road.
Princess Road.
Then it moved to Moss Lane East. That was the front line.
So
Moss Lane
can you
East.
explain that one by one? So Princess Road.
Princess Road, where the Reno and the Nile and the very first patty shop.
So tell us about the Reno.
Well, the Reno was a soul club.
Yeah.
Not soul as what you hear today. It's imported soul, underground music and things like that. And they never, ever, ever played a reggae record down there since it was called the Reno.
Yeah.
They never played reggae record down there. It was pure soul. They used to play in there. I don't know. I think because that's where the mixed race kids found themselves, in the Reno.
Is it?
Because
owned by?
It was owned by an African man called Phil. Yeah, an African man from Nigeria, Phil. Yeah.
But it used to be. So you said he owned it, but who used to run it? Because him.
Yeah, he used to own it and run it.
But
he used to serve behind the bar and everything.
Okay.
His children, his girls and his wife, and they'd all be behind the bar. There was another man called Latty. He used to be on the door, because you paid in. Yeah.
So his wife is what?
White.
White.
Okay.
She was white. His children.
So what percentage of them business out there used to be like black owned or Jamaican owned, should I say?
Well, they ran all the shebeens in their own homes. Like they just owned their house. So they didn't really own anything because they wasn't allowed to own anything. They wasn't allowed a bank account.
What do you mean by that?
Well, because they just wouldn't let you in, man. I don't know why.
So these Jamaicans on the Windrush, for example, your husband, he was brought over, told that he would be given a job and places to live.
Well, he was 14 when he came.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So his parents would be told that. So then he'd come under their jurisdiction.
And they didn't even have a room, never mind a job or a house.
Are you saying that they didn't allow them to have a bank account?
Yeah.
Why was that?
I don't know. All I can put it down for is the colour of the skin. Because remember, I'm from the days, and I actually seen it myself when they used to put it in the window. No blacks, no Irish, and no dogs. I'm from them days. All Broadfield Road, them big houses had attics and cellars, so they used to let out rooms. And this is how a lot of people ended up in my side, because there was all big houses. These people started to rent off a room. But like, if I knock on the door and say, "Have you got any rooms?" Oh yeah. You knock on the door before me, they'll tell you no, they haven't got any rooms. But I come 2 minutes after you and I get a room. You don't, but I do. Wow. Because of the colour of somebody's skin. But I personally don't get it, because I'm not racial against any person at all. Chinese, Indian, whatever. I'm not. White, no.
You can't be mad.
Some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
Yeah.
It's good to know that.
Yeah.
Can sit with you and speak about these things, what happens.
Well, who do I come amongst all the time? Who do I come amongst so super quick? I come amongst all the Jamaican. When I go out, I go to Jamaican dances, don't I? I go to West,
When you go on holiday,
when I go holiday, I go to Jamaica, I go to Barbados, I go to Antigua. Yeah.
Yeah, I play for you here at Cooper's year party already, so.
Yeah, you certainly have played at my parties. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just astonishing, like, the way you said it, because I thought that, because I heard back in the days, like, Jamaican used to own businesses around Princess Road and all that.
Used to own what?
Businesses, lots of businesses, like different shops and all that. But
that was in the 90s.
Okay,
that wasn't in the 70s and the
60s,
70s, 80s. And 80s.
No,
that's when black man just started to try and buy something, because this is how the partner came over here, because you couldn't get a bank account. So then they developed the partner business in Jamaica, didn't they? As a saving thing. Partner.
So that's how partner.
So that's how it come about, because when they come over here now, God bless them, as they come over here now, they didn't even, there was promise this, promise that, promise this. They didn't even have a room. When they come off that ship and they seen the chimneys smoking, that's why a lot of people think that their houses were factories, because we used to have coal fire. This was a coal fire. Yeah. In the living room was a coal fire. We used to have to buy coal off the Indian people, because it was Indian man controlling the coal them days. And the milkmen used to be white. The bus drivers used to be black. Yeah. And the bus conductors that used to give you the ticket, because it used to be two people, was white. Yeah. Because he'd be angling the money, you see. Yeah. Because when the white men first come back from the Second World War, they didn't want to do them type of jobs, like ride a bus and clean a toilet and do somebody's washing in the hospital. They wanted big time office jobs, but there wasn't any.
Okay, so
But so that's when the West Indian people stepped in and said, and Indian people stepped in and said, well, if the white guys don't want to do it, we will.
okay.
So they jumped in, and then the white man, oh, they've come over here, they're taking all our jobs. That's the way they used to speak.
I heard that back in the days, like when the Caribbean people came over here, they intend to clean up the place, like the bread used to put on the doorstep.
Yeah.
People used to put and the milk and stuff like that, and there's a changes in it. So who is the person who changed it, or
Well, I'm just saying the system changed it, because it's definitely not West Indian people who changed it.
No, I'm talking
Not in that.
No, I'm talking about the cleanliness, like cleaning up the place. I hear that is.
No, my side used to be absolutely spotless when we were kids. It was the milkman that used to deliver the milk and the bread and the bacon and the eggs and put it all on. You know, if you had a milkman and you was ordering, you know, you'd put your little note in your empty bottle of milk, put it on the doorstep. The milkman would come, what do you want? Half a dozen eggs, 2 bottles of milk, a loaf of bread, butter, bacon, cheese. That's all they used to do. And put it on your doorstep.
Okay.
Yeah. But coming from a family of 6, my mum couldn't afford it, you know. So on the way to school, and orange juice as well, a little bottle of orange juice they used to deliver. That's if you wanted them to. You had to pay for it, obviously. But we'd pinch it on the way to school, because my mum couldn't afford to buy them things for us. Because them days everybody was poor.
Yeah.
No
So
one
what,
cared.
Can I ask you a question?
Who
So
was
what
wearing
was
it?
the weather like at that time?
The weathers was totally different
Different from
because
now.
we've got global warming now, haven't
Because
we, you know?
people intend to say from the
Because
Jamaicans came over here to bring the sunshine. That's why I asked you.
Well, they did in my life anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the weather. No, it has changed. It has changed because when I was young, me and my brother, when we were young, the one who's 4 years older than me, we used to run out of this front door and dive in the snow because it used to be like this up here, and the summers was long and hot. Yeah, but the winters was bad because we used to have a thing called fog. You know, mist.
Yeah.
But this was fog because we used to burn the coal fires.
Yeah.
So all the smoke coming out of it used to settle, you know, in the winter.
Yeah.
And if me and you were talking like this in the street, you won't be able to see me and I won't be able to see you because the fog was thick. It was like a blanket, you know, coming down.
So so just go back on the.
You don't get that no more.
Yeah. So back on them, like you said now. So I'm trying to understand, you know, like the Jamaican owning business, like back in the day. So now I'm getting a clearer picture.
Yeah.
So they didn't start accelerating until in the 90s, where they was able to open bank accounts.
I'd sort of like say. Let's go into middle 80s, late 80s.
Late 80s.
And then,
Yeah, they would be able to start getting
bank accounts.
Yeah.
By then, they'd been doing the partners for years. They'd
So-
saved grands in the pillowcase.
So when they do the work at that time, because there was a lot of people working on the coal mines, which would be working with the government or whatever.
My father was a miner.
People would drive in the buses and that in that time.
Yeah.
Where would they get paid? How they change their check if they haven't got a bank account?
No, you used to get cash then. You used to get your wage packet.
Okay.
And your cash should be in your little brown envelope. My first week's wages was £7.50. Yeah, I worked in a place up Claremont Road near Winslow Road called Union Knitwear, and I was an overlocker where you sew the jumper together. This is called overlocking, and you'd be on the machine, and that was up Claremont Road. Yeah. Then I worked the first Kentucky. Was on Winslow Road. I worked there. The very first Indian restaurant was called the San Am. That was on Princess Road. That was in the late 50s. That come. Then a Chinese restaurant came, and then a Chinese laundry where you used to take your clothes and get them clean, and your bed sheets and things like that.
Yeah, can I ask you a question for once? So as we talk about the white man, we talk about the black. So what the Indian do in their times, like with the black people and with the white people? Or
They were very hard workers. They done like what we call the dirty jobs, like being a coalman, cleaning toilets. You know, the low end of the low end of the jobs.
Like with them, the levity.
To live in them.
No, the
levity, like the
with
relationship.
With being
the Indian.
Yeah.
What?
Good.
Yeah, the Indian.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Yeah, because all my friends was in Asian
Indian
girls.
treat everyone equal. That's
Yeah. Well,
in that time they probably.
Well, we all used to treat. This is why I said to you earlier on, and I sidetracked, didn't I? When we were young, like me talking to you now. I'm not looking because
what
I
Indian,
don't see your colour. I see you as a person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The same way. I don't know, because you'll have to ask an Asian person that to tell you the truth.
And they would have to be honest as well.
And they'd have to be honest, yeah. But they're the type of jobs that they got. And then a majority of the young black guys now that was growing up, like my fella, he couldn't get a job. And then he'd have to sign on the social and live off the state. Then he'd be called a bum and things like this, you know what I mean? Because you're not making your own money. Yeah.
So you can't win. The black man got the fight.
The black man can't win no matter what. Even today he can't win. Honestly. Even today he can't win. And it's such a shame. Because
I just say that.
I'm raising a young black man now. I'm raising my grandson.
Yeah, I just say that to say this, yeah? And sometimes you have to put these things in it. Because sometimes, do you believe in God?
Of course.
Do you believe in the prophecy written
of
in the
course.
Bible? Do you believe in the prophecy written in the Bible?
I believe in the Lord. I believe in Jesus Christ.
So do you believe in the Bible?
I do believe in the Bible.
So do you believe in the prophecy in the Bible?
What do you mean?
The prophecy, what God's put.
What you're speaking? Yeah, of course.
Prophecy, what gonna come.
Yeah, because he's saying everything.
Okay.
Yeah. He's saying it. He's saying there is no disease. There's going to be diseases that there is no cure for. And look, you've got AIDS, you've got Ebola, you've got this, what's it called? That's COVID-19 going around. So these are all the diseases that's in the Bible that there's not going to be any cure for. And that's what he said.
And there's no prophecy in the Bible.
And there's,
the people that will come in the cargo slave ship, who put them in slavery, gonna go back in slavery. Do you believe in all that?
I believe in all that. I believe in all that.
Okay,
I used to go to church strongly, you know. So, yeah, I used to go to church strong.
The people them where the Bible speak about the children of Israel.
Yeah.
Do you know that the people them from the Caribbean is the children of Israel, white bloodline? You believe in that as well, also?
I don't believe that that Jesus was white. Like, you know, like in our churches, in English churches, they show Jesus on the cross and he looks like a white man, don't they? Well, how can he be? He was born in Jerusalem.
Knowledge what we don't stray from the top, because that's what people keep saying.
No, we're not straying, but we're not straying from the top. We're just reasoning.
Yeah.
No, we're just reasoning, blacks. Just chill.
Yeah.
We're just reasoning.
Yeah.
On the most side.
We're straying on we're talking about most about it's history we're talking here.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is the history. So that's why what the people they go through. Time's gonna come where change is gonna come for all these people.
It's coming. It's already.
So the changes is gonna come for the people that will go through all these rough times. So that's what I'm talking about.
It says it in. I've got the Old Testament upstairs. You know, there's going to be 3 world wars, and I believe this war that's going on right now today is going to end up to be a world war.
Yeah, so...
And you young men would have to go and fight.
Yeah, so you know about that. You don't want to raise history.
No, about history. Yeah,
but we're talking history here.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about, most side of the world...
That's the issue we're on today. Today we're just on most side history. That's what we're on.
Hold on. We just a reason. We just a reason. We just try to reason with the lady if you know where...
You just wanted to know if I believed in the Lord.
Where we're coming from, where we're going from here.
Yeah.
So that's life.
Yeah, of course. It's a circle.
So we have to talk about that. That's reasoning.
Yeah.
You You understand?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Mossad, the whole concept of life and stuff like that. Yeah.
So so fast forward a bit now to the late 2000s now, yeah?
Yeah.
So I've been here now like 20 odd years now, and I've seen a lot of changes now, like
Yeah.
within people who live are used to the amount of black people who used to live in Mossad.
Yeah.
Now, can you explain a bit more of the changes you've seen recently, like, you know, because there isn't that many black people or that many Jamaicans live in Mossad right now as it is, innit? Like
No, it's a change now to
It's,
Somali people.
yeah.
It's a lot of Somali people now moving around here. Well, mainly from all over, because when people come, like as refugees,
Yes,
where do they bring them? Straight away, straight to Mossad.
I know. Yeah.
They haven't got a clue about their background, where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of guys came over here. What nationality were they? Iranian.
Yeah, Iranian.
They brought a lot of Iranians over because of their war.
Yeah.
And the majority of their young men were heroin addicts. And they all came over here on heroin. So when they came over here now and they ended up living here, they had to go and get the medication off our doctors. And it's the taxpayers that are paying for their medication.
But do you think, I don't cut you, but do you think it's fair for someone like you who've seen like someone like your husband who come here, struggled, work, couldn't get work, then struggled through the system, now finally been accepted somewhat, been able to put in the system. But then people from Jamaica who come here now, they don't really get that benefit that these people get, even though they've put in the system, like back in the, you understand me? So have you got any
well, when like,
what's your opinion on
say
that?
all your age guys came over, when you come over 20 years ago and things like that, they just came over here with the idea of the head of selling drugs. They didn't come over here to get a job. They come over here with the purpose, and this is where you got the name Yardie. Because everyone's saying, oh, it's the yard. I heard people bringing this yard, bringing this yard. You know what I mean? So that's where that's where everyone started saying Yardie. So that's all they was coming over for.
But not everyone came over for that.
No.
But then you could say that the younger generation
The younger
was more
generation.
seen in that way.
Yes.
Because that was.
You can never even say the younger generation.
No, I'm saying like,
what I'm saying.
I'm not saying.
In that, you're not wrong.
No, I'm not wrong.
It's
I'm
not
definitely
like
not wrong because I've seen it.
But what I'm saying, it's not like to say the young generation coming over for that. Because many people leave Jamaica, sometimes they don't know where they're gonna do, what they're gonna do when they came over. And sometimes life meet them in a different way.
Circumstances that
I understand all that.
Some people have to do, but sometimes some people do not have to do it.
No, no one has to do it. No one has to do it. But what I am saying, and I'll repeat myself. What I'm saying, us. When I'm talking about Mossad now.
Yeah, Mossad.
When the group of Jamaican guys came over here now, like 90s and all that lot. That's the purpose they came over here for. Was to sell drugs. Look how many Jamaican guys have come over here, sold drugs, and now they've been deported back again. There's been a lot. There's been a lot.
You know, most necessary, I wouldn't say that most people come over just.
No, I'm not saying.
No,
you're not understanding what I'm not saying. Most. I'm saying that that generation that came over here, they didn't come over here and say, "Right, I'm going to go to England and I'm going to get a job." They came over here to do what I've just said they were doing.
Okay.
No, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Because it was pure Jamaicans on Claremont Road at one point. You didn't really see any mixed race guys out there. Or it was pure Jamaicans holding the front line.
But what about like?
This is why everyone started going on about it. You know, this.
But what about like the black guys who was born here to like because they would have been classed.
Well, the English black.
Yes. So because
them are Jamaicans.
Yeah, they're from Jamaican parents.
Yes. So
maybe grandparents, Jamaican grandparents or Jamaican.
But when you're
parents.
saying those guys, are you talking about all those guys because the English born person would they be involved in that Yardie per se persona?
No, they used to want to fight the Yardies. They used to want to tax them.
Yeah.
The English back used to want a tax.
So what did these set of guys used to do in that era? Like, you know, the English guys that was born here in that era, like
What did go to war?
With the Jamaicans?
With the Jamaicans.
What for though?
Because you come over here and you're standing on their turf and they're not going to allow you to do that.
Okay.
So they'll come and tax you, or they'll come and fight you and kick you off the corner. Yeah.
So that was in the 90s?
Yeah. Yeah, late 90s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I say because I'm a Jamaican and I come here, sometimes circumstances will let people do things, and
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But what my point is this: every nation has got it a lot better than Jamaicans has. So, like you were saying, you've been here and you've seen it all, yeah. But Jamaicans is the only country that's not have ever been anything handed out to. You understand? So regardless if they come here, help to build the system, and circumstances put them in a certain way, because like I said, they was forced not to even get a job, not to have none of that. So what was some of them supposed to do? You know what I mean? But at the same time, like I said, there was people from Iran who come here, and they've never contributed anything to the system. And people from Somalia, people from wherever,
and they're accepted more.
They're accepted more, and they get everything.
And they get everything.
So this one, so with us, we feel like we've never been fairly treated from day one, because not only that, it's like we've been taken to Jamaica, been slaves, we've been descendants of slaves, then come here, been tricked, tell our parents to come here, work, then we come here, and then at the same time, there was no better here, because what it is, Myra, what you might not understand is, we as Jamaican, when we are in Jamaica, when we hear about England, UK, we think about heaven.
Yeah.
No one know what heavens look like, so let's get that straight.
You think the streets are painted
but
with
we
gold
just think because we hear that.
Yeah.
So when we come here, just like most other people, and the reality lick you, like, you know what I mean, you can't get nothing, you're illegal.
You can't go to the sea and catch a fish.
You can't go to the sea and catch a fish, you can't pick an orange, you know what I mean, and then your counter tax bill is coming, your rent's coming, your TV license knocking at your door,
and it's
the water rate is freezing, you need gas, you need electric, you know, no, not making any excuses. But what I'm saying is, we haven't get any handed out through this country, which we should have been the person and the generation that received the most from this system. But we didn't get anything. Remember, you know, Jamaicans fight the war, so let's not forget that.
They certainly did.
Yeah.
They certainly did.
So they fight the war, but I'm also gonna involve a next group, which you'd have probably heard about, the Gurkhas.
The Gurkhas.
Yeah. So the Gurkhas came in and they fought along, and you see.
It's only just now they're getting noticed. I really have to take this.
No problem, Myra.